Listen, I don't care how far you search, how wide you go, there's nobody like the Lord of all. Yeah, yeah. Hey, yo, Pastor Kim, we rockin'. Come on, y'all. Say Lord of all. Think about the marvelous work. The scripture declares that every knee said you are Lord. Yeah. Said yes, you are. Worship you. All glory, you are the Lord of all. We worship you. Our glory, because you are the Lord. walk by faith, live my life by faith, trusting God all the way. Where I'm gonna walk by faith, live my life by faith, trusting God all the way. I'm gonna walk by faith, live my life by faith, trusting God all the way.
Man. I don't know about you all, but I feel some excitement in the house on tonight. I'm talking about your house, the one you sitting in. I'm telling you, there's some excitement going on in your house. And get ready, because I'm telling you, the word of the living God, we're going to have us an awesome time around the word of the living God. Get your Bibles, get your pad, get your pens. I want you to take some good notes. I want you to remove all the distractions out of the way. I always say this: what you hear will affect your faith, but how you hear will affect your harvest. And the wild thing about it, what you hear, you can't really control because it's somebody else talking. But you can take heed to how you hear. That's why you can't just listen to anybody, because what you hear is going to affect your faith, but how you hear, it's going to affect your harvest. Hey, let me know that you're in the house. I see Lynn's in the house, Kathy's in the house, Melissa's in the house, Nisi's in the house. Ross, I want y'all to share because you care. Frederica is in the house on tonight. Come on, let me know that you're there and that you care. Shay is in the house, Lamar is in the house. And let's get ready. Get your Bibles, get your pads, and come on, let's get it on. I have some BMO people with me on tonight. Yeah. BMO, you know when they say BMO, that be more, that means that you're going to be more than what you are, what you were on yesterday. And on today I have with me Pastor Charles and Pastor Ava Towles here with me on tonight. Come on, give my guests a good God bless you hand clap. Come on, what's going on? How you doing? Introduce yourself. How long you been here? What's going on?
Oh, man, thank you for the introduction. I received it too, be more. But my name is Pastor Towles. I'm from Baltimore, and I've been with the ministry now. Well, it's been since '07, but I actually became a partner and son in '17. So going on 6 years. Going on 6 years I've been in this position at Baltimore. Yeah, so.
And you running everything down BMO. You know, if you want to.
Everything that got to be ran, I'm running.
And then you have over here.
Yeah, I'm Pastor Ava, and I am his wife. Yes, and he is my husband. And so, you know what, I'm so excited to be here, and I'm telling you tonight, I've really been just thinking about this word, and I'm glad to be in this place of hearing and learning and understanding. I'm telling you, just being here, we just can't take being here for granted.
Absolutely.
You know, we got nuggets. It's a gold mine in this place. And so we need to be here to pick it. I mean, just pick all up, rub it off. You know, rub it off and look at it and say, hey, that's a piece of gold right there. So I thank God for even being in this place. So thank you. And I thank Pastor Mike, Dr. Didi, and then, you even, asking us to come tonight.
Well, the reason why I ask is because of your commitment to Pastor Mike and Dr. Didi. Yeah. That's the only reason. I mean, if I don't sense a person is connected, I would not do anything like that. Mm-hmm. So you're the ones that initiated this. Okay. Because of your service to him, and both of them. Mm-hmm. You follow me? Yes, so, and that's where understanding kicks in. You know, let's look at Proverbs 4. Look at Proverbs 4 in verse number 7. Proverbs 4, and let's get our eyes on verse number 7. All the way from Charleston, South Carolina. Somebody's in the house. Charleston, South Carolina is in the house. Proverbs 4. And look at verse number 7, Proverbs 4, verse number 7. It reads like this. It says, wisdom is the principal thing. You know, when I look at this, it says wisdom is the principal thing. That word principal, when I look at it, it's talking about supreme thing. That word principal means the main thing. It's first, it's chief. It says, therefore, wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom. And in all you're getting, get understanding. I mean, it's amazing because we are been talking about two words this year, and we're going to continue to talk about these two words. But these two words are what, y'all? What are these two words I'm talking about? Growth and what? Sustainability. Now watch this, watch this. It is impossible. It is impossible to grow and then sustain your growth without wisdom and understanding.
That's absolutely.
What do you think? What do you think?
That's correct, because when I look at this, it's telling us, and since you say it's the principal thing, it's the most important thing for your growth and for you to have something to sustain. But when I'm looking at it, say wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and then it says in all of your getting, get an understanding. Mm-hmm. And it's awesome because I look at this as the fact that it says I can have wisdom, but wisdom is really nothing without understanding how wisdom operates. Mm-hmm. And when I look at, even in Proverbs, this is something because I was looking at Proverbs 3 and 5, it says to not lean to your own understanding. So it's telling you going in that your understanding is not any good right here. Right. But then it's telling you the next chapter to get an understanding. So if you don't realize that, okay, I got to go in knowing that I can't lean to my own understanding, so I got to get rid of that at the door. Because when I come in, the first sign of wisdom is getting rid of my own understanding, to begin to not even lean on it. Because I remember Pastor Mike years ago did this illustration. He was up there and he had somebody that was smaller than him, and he kind of just leaned back and just told him, he said, hold me up. And he just leaned all his weight on him. He said, because now I represent, he said the little person represent his own understanding. And as long as he was leaning back, you could see the guy was kind of getting weak. He said, because you were not designed to carry your own understanding. But then it says to get an understanding, meaning now I got to get rid of mine because mine is no good. Now I got to put myself in a place where understanding is being taught so it can teach me the understanding that I need to have.
That's why I said it does matter who you're under, because who you're under, you're going to stand on their point of view. Absolutely. You know, there's some people that are under some men of God, and the men of God that they are under, their point of view about healing, God don't heal everybody. Right. So therefore, they are stuck. You understand? It's some people that are under men of God that they don't believe that teaching prosperity is right. And I'm saying, wow, if you don't teach prosperity, what you want us to teach? Poverty? Right. Like, it's only, to me, there's a prosperity or poverty. Right. So you don't like prosperity, but you want us to talk about poverty, but you're standing on their point of view. Mm-hmm. And everybody's point of view, if you listen to them, and you listen to them good and long enough, they always change. Always change. Because I remember not too long ago, you know, we had everybody in the house, pandemic and all that stuff. And Dr. Fauci was everybody's pastor. He was a lot of people's pastor. And Dr. Fauci would tell you something about the virus one week, and then he'll come back the next and change. So everybody's point of view always change. God is the only one that his point of view never changed. You follow me?
Exactly. Because see, man's understanding is limited because they only go with the situation that's right now. And because God's understanding, he is unlimited. He knows what's getting ready to happen. So when we tap into his understanding through a man of God, he tells us, you know, just like with the pandemic, Pastor Mike was telling us to sow and save. So because that understanding was ahead of the circumstances, once it was ahead of it, and then Pastor Mike telling us what to do, we can work in that understanding and do what he said. But then we thinking about, oh, no, I'm all right. I'm good, whatever he said. But because I'm my own man, I can tell him what to do. But there you go. You was behind in what the understanding that the man of God was trying to give us. So look, your understanding got you in some places that you're trying to get out of right now.
Yeah, and they don't understand how you got there.
Exactly.
But it's amazing it says, get wisdom, because wisdom is that's all years ago they used to say, and just watch this is a man's understanding. Years ago they used to say, knowledge is what? Power. Now, knowledge is really not power.
It's not.
Knowledge is potential power, but knowledge is not power. It's potential power. The power comes in with the wisdom, because if you never act on what you believe, you follow, you'll never see the power of God flowing. So when we look at, he's saying wisdom is the thing that's going to get the power to flow. See, understanding ain't going to get the power to flow. Wisdom is going to get the power to flow. But when you get the power flowing, you need to understand how the power starts flowing and how to keep it flowing. Right. An understanding will allow you to sustain that power that begin to flow. Yes. We just had an out. The power went out. That my generator didn't. It kicked on, but for some reason it wasn't sending the power in the house. And the lights were still out. My pump downstairs needed to be run. So I would go downstairs. I got a backup battery pump. The pump on the backup was broke. I go outside, get the generator, the one you got to crank now, and it runs for a little while. I plug that thing in, it shut down. And I'm sitting there, I said, oh my God. And I called the guy 2 days later. He comes over there, did a little adjustment to it, crank it up now. I could have did that 2 days ago. But I was praying, Lord, turn that power, that real power back on. The power came back on, but this guy was telling me I could have did that 2 days ago if I would have had some understanding.
Understand. And it's crazy because first you have to have the knowledge to even get the understanding. Because if I went out there and just pulled a string, I'm thinking everything's going to go right. You're thinking everything's going to go right. But the adjustment, the guy had understanding of how it worked. So when you don't have proper thing like reading his word, when you read the word, you can read somewhere in here or listen to somebody who will tell you that he may not come when you want him. So them lights ain't come on when you want him. But then somebody that came with some understanding came up with, hey, but this guy who had understanding, he was the one right on time because he now was able to do something. Now the thing is, letting him do it without getting any information on how he did it, then this guy's gonna keep coming back. I remember one time when we was opening up the Baltimore campus and Pastor Mike was there and you know, people was going all over the place doing things. And this guy, he came to fix the heat and try to get the heat running. And so while he was there, he went down there and he did something to the heat and he got it running. And when we came back up, Pastor Mike said, okay, what did he do?
He asking you that.
He asking me.
Right. I know. Go ahead.
So I'm just getting to the spot, right? I'm like, I don't know. Lord have mercy. I got understanding to not ever say I don't know, especially when you was down there with the person. He said, don't let anyone come in your environment to do something and you not know what they did before. Because that's getting an understanding, because now whenever that thing go out, you may see me leave because I know exactly what to do. So whenever that comes, you got to understand, if I understand what to do, I can do it every single time at will.
We say it's divine comprehension in my heart that gives me the ability, why? To repeat something at will. What I understand, I can repeat at will. And it's amazing. Understanding will cause you something. It will cost you something.
Absolutely.
You follow me? It'll cost you something. And you might as well go ahead and pay the price to get that understanding, because if you don't, ignorance costs more than that.
It costs more than that.
You know what I mean? I just had another story. I'm just thinking, the guy to come fix my garage, the thing wouldn't go up and come down. I'm pushing the button, the thing wouldn't even go up and down. And then I called the garage man because I, tried everything I knew how. And I got so frustrated because you gotta pull up to the house. You gotta get out. I had to get out the car. It was cold. Push the code in for another door. Walk to the door. Push the button for that door. That one go up. I come in and then I close the thing. Didn't think about the next morning I had to leave out. Push the button. I'm backing up, getting ready to leave. I said, "Oh my God, I got to get out in this cold." Close this door, go in the house, go to the door, push that one to close that one, then walk, and then come and close this one on the thing. And the guy came out there, he said, what's the problem? And I told him, he said, push that button. What button you want? I pushed the button. I said, see, the thing won't open up. And then he went up there, he pushed it. He said, push it again. Push it. When he pushed the thing, he said, push it down. And he said, push it down, make sure it works. And that's 5 minutes. He said, $250. I said, $250? You weren't here but 5 minutes. He said, no, you didn't pay me for how long I was here.
Right.
You paid me for my understanding.
Understanding. Yep. And you'll pay it every time you don't understand.
I bet I found out how to do it then, I tell you that.
Exactly.
But if you didn't, that ignorance will cause it to be paid again.
Yes.
Because that's a machine. And how many times have we paid for something over and over again because we didn't pay attention to the moment that we was in?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That moment, and just think, that was 5 minutes. That was 5 moments or 5 minutes that we could have been somewhere else getting some understanding, but yet we had to pay something to get something now. But if it happens again, now it's on me.
Because you paid attention. You paid attention. You paid something to get that understanding so the next time you can repeat this as well. Exactly. And I always say this, frustration is the reward of a lack of understanding. Anytime somebody don't understand a thing and they know the thing's supposed to work for them, they are frustrated because understanding is the reward of a lack of understanding.
Let me tell you, so when I'm a kind of learner where I have to do it. Like if you tell me to do, I'm like, okay, and I'll come back to you a couple of times. But if I stand there and I watch you do it, I'm like, oh, I got it now. I got the understanding. So the thing is, when Pastor Mike is telling us stuff, he said, if you don't know how to teach it to somebody else, then you didn't learn it. And so for me, if I don't do it, and when he's telling us stuff to do, then that means we got to do it, and then we understand what he's talking about. And then a lot of times we'll say, I tried that. Well, you did not try it. No, you did try it. Yes, you did. You did try that. But you didn't do it. And when you do it, you get understanding why you're doing it. And a lot of times, again, like our understanding has gotten us in certain places. And a lot of times as your children, you got children, you telling the child how to, what to do, go across the street, and you teaching them. And, just like they don't know, but every time they go across the street, because it's not in their mind yet. And you say, look both ways. And that child gets so upset with you every time, I look. And you keep saying, look both ways. You keep telling them, look both ways until it gets in their mind and they realize, oh, now I can do this. I can do this without having somebody else come teach me to go across the street because I listen. Now I understand that I have to look both ways before I go across the street. So when we don't have somebody and submit to the understanding that someone is trying to give us, even though we're grown, quote, unquote, grown, because some of us still need to learn. No, we all still need to learn and have someone over us to teach us the understanding. So we got to submit to a person who we see have walked in understanding and has results of understanding. So we have to learn how to understand like the person that we're under.
You never graduate from the University of Understanding.
Never.
You never graduate. You're always getting more and more and more because everything is changing. And the wild thing about it is this. Whatever you don't understand, you will mismanage. You will mess it up.
Yes.
Whatever you don't understand, you will make a mess of. And whatever you make a mess of, you will eventually lose it. The reason why you'll lose it because when you make a mess of something, you open up a door for the devil to come in and kill, steal, and destroy. And there are a lot of people, they're running their lives. They're running their lives off of just information, but they don't have any understanding. And because they don't have any understanding, they always leave a door open for Satan to come in and kill, steal, and destroy. Just think about it. You mismanage your money, you mess that up, you lose it. You mismanage your influence as a leader, you'll lose it. Mismanage your marriage, guess what? You'll end up losing it. Because you're opening up the door for the devil to come in to kill, steal, and destroy.
I remember this wise teacher once said, you only get to keep what you understand.
Yes.
Because there's an immediately Satan is
enemy
looking for the
comes.
immediately in your life.
Yes.
So wherever something is coming, like Job said, you were saying last week in Bible study about having a place. Understanding is a place.
Yes.
And that place is not necessarily a building, but it's coming in where you can actually hang up your understanding at the door and take on somebody else's thoughts. I was hearing how Pastor Mike was saying today on Noonday. If you haven't seen Noonday, you can look at, but not now. I'm not finished.
Right.
I'm not really finished. But it was saying, he was saying how he himself is a big deal, and it's good for us to be connected. Like learning how to live on somebody else's thinking is so powerful, because now I have to get an understanding of how he thinks to get that. So when you become fruit inspectors, that lets you know who you can actually lend your ears to get an understanding, because you only get to keep. So when you check the inventory of your life, you can tell how you've been hearing, or where your understanding has still been, or where you have checked your understanding to get somebody else's understanding. Because if he has the fruit that we want, why not lend our ear to that, check our understanding, and understand how he thinks? That way we can get to and then to be consistent across the board.
You know, it's look at Colossians chapter 1 real quick. Colossians chapter number 1, and look at verse number 10. Colossians chapter 1, verse number 10. Apostle Paul was talking, and he said this in verse number 10. He said that you may walk worthy of the Lord, fully pleasing him. Anybody want to fully please God? I mean, there's some people, you know, they just get by. They're happy about pleasing God, but we talking about fully pleasing him. To me, there's a difference when you pleasing, but I'm talking about there must be a fully pleasing God. He said, and being fruitful in every good work. I mean, do anybody want to be fruitful in everything that you put your hands to, every assignment that God calls you to? I mean, you're fruitful in every good work. And then it says, and increasing in the knowledge of God. I'm looking at this verse, and I'm seeing growth and sustainability in this verse. He said that you may walk worthy of the Lord. And then he said, fully pleasing. Being fruitful in every good work. And then it said, increasing in the knowledge of God. And I said to myself, man, that's growth and sustainability right there. But I said earlier that without wisdom and understanding, you cannot have growth and sustainability. Look at verse number 9 now. Verse number 9 says, for this reason, we also, since the day we heard it, do not cease to pray for you and to ask that you may be filled with the knowledge of his will, notice this, in all wisdom and spiritual understanding. And then he said, that you may. See, you wouldn't be able to do verse number 10 without the wisdom and the understanding.
You see, it's about your ear too, though. Because it say, you know, I went to Mark chapter 4, verse 23, and it says, take heed what you hear, with what measure ye meet, and it shall be measured to you, and unto you that hear shall more be given. And so that's why the Bible always say, he that have an ear. You have to use your ear to hear to get understanding. Some people, and sometimes we just feel like we know it all, and we shut our ear down. And like you were saying, like learning has the earn in it, has your ear in it, and all of those components come through understanding. When you keep listening, and because a lot of times, when we first came to Spirit of Faith, and I'm going to tell you, just being around this atmosphere, you can get caught up in, oh, wow, they got this, and they got that, and Pastor Mike got this, and Dr. Didi got that, and even be around him and not hear him because you got caught up with all of that. But then you got another ear. Okay, now I'm seeing all this. I have to tune in. Something else has to change. I have to get an understanding on how this happened. And once you get an understanding on how it happened, because I'm telling you, you can get, and I don't mean that in a bad way, you can get caught up. But instead of instead of just being caught up with it, you say, you know what? I want to hear so I can also live in it. Like he was talking about in morning, the Bible study, like he wants all of us to be doing the same thing. And what's the use of having money and you can't help somebody else? You know, and that's what it's for, because he gave us power to get help so that we can advance the kingdom. And advancing the kingdom, when we get understanding from our man of God who has lived through an example, then now we can walk and we can start, hey, I'm going to pay for that, I'll pay for that. And you know, now sometime, you know, I'll pay for somebody's groceries. I'm like, yeah, go on. Little girl, she was like, oh, can you be my godmother?
They understand that money. And you may talk to the little kid, go do that. Right. And I don't know, they don't act like they want to pour that money out. What you want me to do? Right. But it's amazing, because when you were talking about there's a place, Job said, where is the place of understanding? So the understanding must have a place. And I said this, if you don't recognize that you're in the place, when you're in that place, you can miss an opportunity of getting some understanding. Mm-hmm. And how many people miss opportunities because they didn't recognize that they were in the place that they were supposed to get some understanding?
It's amazing, because most of the places that we go, we feel like we bring in the understanding. And it's something, because whenever you come in, you got to come in, because we come in this place to do what? We come in to learn. And so this is a place, but guess what? This is not the only place. Everywhere you are, I remember, this is a famous one that I've adapted from Pastor Mike, is that every moment owes me something. I got to get whatever it is out of every moment. So the moment that I'm in is also the place that I'm in to grab an understanding. Because if I miss a moment, which could be an instruction, one failed instruction can cause me disaster. So every opportunity, I got to go in attentive, because I was reading the same verse that you were just talking about in the Amplified version. And it says that, for this reason, we also, from the day we heard of it, have not ceased to pray and make special requests for you, asking that you may be filled with the full, deep, and clear knowledge of his will and all spiritual wisdom and comprehensive insight into the ways and purposes of God. That's something that we have to get, but they are praying for us to get it. So if we don't get it, it's not the person who's praying fault, it's the one who does not recognize the place that they're in to get this wisdom, this spiritual insight, and gain a comprehensive. That goes back to getting the understanding, knowing the place that you're in to get it.
And that's why it's amazing. I remember years ago when I first received Jesus, and probably about 2 years after that, listened to somebody that was teaching the word. And it had me locked in. It had me locked in. I'm sitting there, I ain't never heard nobody just sit down and just talk. Everything I heard was turn to one scripture, they read that one scripture, and then the Lord said, and that organ get to going, and I knew people, they was gonna get down after that. And one day I was sitting in the service, and I said to myself, man, if I could just do that. I wanted to just get up and just do them dance. But I was smart enough, and I started looking around. Everybody had about the same dance. But then nobody's marriage was good. They were broke. I mean, people were, the sick and shut-in list was real long. It was long. And all of a sudden, I got turned on to the Word. And I started getting some understanding of the Word. And it just revolutionized my life. And I didn't know it. So what I started doing, when I got around people that I was following, I never cared about what they had. I applaud them for what they had, but I didn't care about what they had. I cared about, how did you get what you had? Absolutely. And I see a lot of people chasing the hand, and they don't chase the person's heart. And sometimes when you chase the hand and you get it's too heavy for you, and it causes a breakdown in your life. I've seen people can't even pay for the stuff that they get.
Didn't have any understanding.
But when you go after the heart, like, how did you get that? Teach me that part. And when I got a hold of this, it's like this is like easy. You get this, it's like this, chase this. If you don't have this, you got to chase all that stuff. And that's why I think that's why God said, seek ye first the kingdom of God, get some understanding of how the kingdom, and he said, all these things will be added. But if you don't understand how the kingdom operates, you're going to chase the stuff.
I can remember when I was passionate like that, and I'm not laughing too much at those people because I used to be that too. I even had somebody come to the church that we didn't have an organ player at that time. They went and got on the organ themselves, and they played their own music to them. I'm like, wow, that's up. But then, but when your heart really wants that, God would not leave you there. You don't have to stay there. So, but like you say, you can see all these things, and your life can be empty because a lack of understanding, spiritual, divine understanding, will leave you empty. Seek, just continue to seek, never getting, because you always see that you want something. And how many places, because when you go to a place where there's understanding, but you only after the hand, you mismanage the place. And whenever you mismanage the place, you'll never come out with what you need. Because now, where we're, like Pastor Mike was saying today, follow me. Follow my lifestyle. But here's the thing. He's also teaching us how to follow that so that soon we will not be following after him for his fruit. We'll be able to get our own. And it reminds me of what he was talking about even today about how he told you not to call him while he's on vacation.
He said, if somebody ain't dying or the building ain't blow up, if the building didn't blow up and somebody didn't die, don't call me.
But see, when you start getting an understanding, you don't have to call nobody no more because you won't be afraid to make a decision based on the moment because you got understanding on how things work. So even though, the lobby was flooding and all that, it was like, well, we got to call him.
No, I didn't call him. I didn't call him to ask him about that.
Okay.
I went on and did it.
Oh, yeah, you went and
I
did
did it. I told him after he got back, he said that. All of that went on, why you didn't call me? Because you told me not to call you.
Right.
You understand? But the wild thing about it, the first thing, when I asked the guy, the water going everywhere. We had to shut, pipe. And the dude said, y'all on your own. You got to call this company. And I called one company. They talking about $65,000 to $100,000. And I was like, I don't have that kind of authority, you understand? Right. But then I started thinking, I said, well, he gonna want a Sunday service.
Right.
And I'm telling you, it was like, I'm up there saying, okay, God, give me some wisdom on how to do this. It's amazing, man. Yes. And one guy came up to me. He came up to me. He said, let's go to lunch tomorrow. And he said, I went to lunch with him. He said, this is what I want you to tell them. And I told him exactly what he said. And we didn't have to pay that money. The county came and went around the whole building. You go down Temple Hills now, they got pipes going. I was there, I watched them digging, you understand? I stayed there until they connected because we had to have that thing up by Sunday morning. And they went around and put it and covered that thing back up. And I was like, he said, you ain't gonna have to pay it, don't worry about it. Me and that guy is just like this right now. I know that's right. Because he gave me some wisdom and some understanding. But can you imagine if I didn't have him, I would have called that company and the ministry would have been paying that kind of money. But with my understanding. Come on. I think I ought to get a bonus for that, you understand? Some understanding just came up on me about that, Teresa, some understanding.
Because wherever there's an understanding, later on, it will be a memorial. It's going to be told because it's a place where understanding was. Because now we can go around and see the pipes, and we'll say that's a memorial now. Why? Because that's the place that Pastor Dewayne got to understand.
I got it, man. And I can tell you how the pipe. Now, Pastor Mike knew that because he's looking at all this stuff. I wouldn't even. There's stuff under the ground, and you can't see it. Right. I don't know. I don't want to know where it goes, but he knows all this stuff. But now I can tell you exactly where the pipes run underground. and how they get all the way out the parking lot. By the time it come on the parking lot at Temple Hills on one side, I can show you where it come out on the other side. You understand? Because them couple of days, I got me some understanding. You understand? But when that water, it's something about when you see the results of some understanding. Yeah. That water started flowing, and the guy said, "Flush the toilet." We flushed in the toilet. We was like, yes. It's something about even when you work understanding in your house. I'm telling you, like. I've been married 38 years. And 38 years, watch this, 38 years, it's like, I laugh because it's almost like a game. Mm-hmm. And I was telling Lisa, I said, you know, it's almost, you can't even tell some Christians like what you experiencing because they think you lying. Because it's like everybody got a fussing kind of raising the voices and cussing and we're getting ready to leave. And I'm sitting there and I'm saying to myself, like, dang, we ain't around the house fussing. It's like we loving each other, chasing each other around the house. Like you play hide and go seek. You understand? And it's like, it's crazy because you got some understanding. And I look at sometimes, and I'm counseling people, and I see them, and the only thing that's lacking is some understanding. And I just sit there and say, this is what he's trying to say. Mm-hmm. And this is what she's trying to, and he's like, that's what you were trying to say all that time. Yeah, because you wasn't listening. Because one of the rules when you're talking, somebody got to be silent while the other one is talking.
Yes. Right.
Yes.
And most people can't do that because before they finish, you think you know everything.
Yes, right.
And you talking before they finish.
Yes.
It's something because they're having a conversation
already
while the other person is talking on what they're going to say, and they're not listening. So wherever you're communicating without understanding, you're actually arguing. I don't care if you're not raising your voice or nothing. You're arguing because you're not getting an understanding of what's going on. So you're going to repeat this somewhere.
But that's the thing about your ear. It's still about your ear because your ear will also, because you're hearing God, and he'll already tell you, this is what she means. But if you're not listening, he can't even talk to you while y'all having that heated discussion. He can tell you in the middle of it, just be quiet and just hear what he's saying. But if your ear, if you already know it already, if you don't have any understanding, then you're going to continue to go in that same cycle over and over again. And somebody got to break it.
Somebody got to break it. And the wild thing about it is when they are, like me and Lisa would play this game. Well, I call it a game now, because when we first started, you would have a white towel or a white piece of paper, a handkerchief, whatever. Whoever had the handkerchief was the one that was going to talk. But you only could talk for about 4 to 5 minutes. You couldn't like hold a handkerchief the whole time that you talking. So once you finish, you pass the handkerchief over, and then you tell me what I just said, and then you reply to what I said. Because if you can't tell me what I said, how you gonna reply to what I said? And then when they get finished, you know, you get it back, and there was some understanding going on in there, and it allowed you to be able to communicate with. I'm telling you, it's like
that was what you said. Somebody got ink pen.
Yeah, we had, I'm telling you, it's like understanding, like when we was coming together as far as cleaning up. You know, she came from one environment, I came from another environment. I mean, I had Pastor Mike, Dee Dee, and Tyrone. Man, they were so junky, man. All of us had the same room, and they junked the room up. I just got tired of cleaning the room up, so everybody, our room was junky. So you got junk moving in with cleanness. And so I would come in and I would take off my post office stuff and lay it on the couch. Cause the closet right there, but I had something to do right now, and I would lay it, and I'm gonna get it. And then the next day I would come in and say, I put that on top. I put it on top so I wouldn't want to spread it around, because I'm gonna come and get all of it. And then Lisa, she gets in the bed at night. And she's squirming. I said, babe, what's wrong? I don't even know how you can sleep with all this junk. Like, she get up and clean. I said, like, how you do it? I said, I just get in the bed and I just close my eyes and go to sleep. I don't know why you can't do that. And one day I was teaching and I was talking about word pictures. And if you got to be able to communicate in word pictures sometime. Because if you just communicate, you may get your head chopped off. like David slept with this girl, and the prophet came along, and he started talking about sheep. That sheep ain't had nothing to do, but he was painting a word picture and got David so involved. So Lisa told me one day, I was out there washing the car, and she came out there, baby, you got that car clean. How long you gonna take? I said, I'll be finished about 15 minutes. She said, I'm gonna have a sandwich and something to drink, some potato chips for you. I got in the house, I'm eating them potato chips, and I said, man, I gotta be a good wife, man. She come and sit down, talk about how I was cleaning the car off, and she said, man, that car is clean. You love that car when it's clean. I said, yeah. And then I gotta shine them wheels up because I gotta make sure the tire that is black, you understand? And when I'm driving it, I always had a little rag in because when the birds drop something on it, I gotta pull over and wipe that off because I just worked so hard in getting it clean like that. Man, she had me going in the store. And then she said, well, how do you feel when the mess hit the car? I said, I'm telling you, it messed me up because I worked so hard. And she said, that's how I feel when I clean this house up and you come in and drop your little post office uniform on the thing. I said, I got stuck. I was like, you shouldn't have did that to me.
She pulled you in.
Because she had some understanding how to communicate something that was going to be effective that caused me now to be able to put the V's in the carpet when I'm vacuuming. You understand? When I'm washing the dishes, I wipe the sink out, wipe the handle off. Just like you wouldn't know if Lisa did it or Dewayne did it, because Lisa taught me and I got some understanding.
That's something because when she knew how to use a parable, it was just like Jesus using parables, using modern day times to get you in, because his whole outcome was to get you to get an understanding. So you can repeat this at will. So every time she go in the house and see that V in that carpet, she understand that car was clean.
Darlene said she got you. She got you. Say, nice job. I'm telling you, when you pull in, it's funny, too, that you pull in somebody with their feelings.
Oh, yeah.
When she pulled you in with your feelings and raised you right on up. And you know what? That's what sometimes with Pastor Mike, he's talking, he'll pull us in with that feeling, raise us right on up, and then he'll be like, but that's you. And so that's what she did. She pulled you and say, look, this is exactly how I feel. I know you like that feeling. It looks good. I did all that work. And now she showed you, look, you pulled all that in. I did the same thing. And it wasn't even an argument.
No,
it wasn't even an
how you
argument
gonna
about
argue with like that when the man said, David, a man friend came over, and the man had all these sheep. He go over there and take that man's sheep. He only got one and killed the sheep. And David, you know, he's a shepherd boy. David said, who is that? He ought to get his head cut off. I'll beat him up myself, you understand? David was mad up, and he said, David, you the man. It wasn't about the sheep. It was about that man only had one wife. You had multiple wives. I could have gave you another one if you wanted it, but you gonna go take that man's wife?
Right.
It was like,
That's powerful because they used something that he understood to get him to bring him some more understanding.
Amen.
So your understanding can be built on. That's why it's perpetual understanding. So he used some, just like Minister Lisa used that car to bring it in. And I'm not just using this. Whatever it is that's going on in your life and in your house, you got to get an understanding, because whatever you understand, you can begin to relate to that. Otherwise, you're going to keep the same mindset. You're going to keep the same character. And then a person, you know, can actually call you a fool for not, what they say is what is that there? Repeat the thing. You're insane. For
Insanity.
Insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results.
Right.
Y'all help me out next time.
We got you.
But it's something, because how many times we do something and expecting different results, but we don't grab an understanding. And you repeating it, but you think you're growing. But here's the problem. You sustaining that level, but you ain't growing. And that can happen where you come in.
But then watch this. Because now, I just read something the other day. They said the information that we get today, in the next 2 years, it's going to be different. So what they're saying is that if you don't update your understanding, you're going to get left behind. And you think you being sustained because you ain't doing nothing, but you really are getting behind the 8 ball because everything else is moving and growing, you know, because growth and sustainability, to me, it's like a ball. God said, okay, you see the growth sustainability, roll it. Just keep rolling it. And I said, what? He said, growth, sustainability. And when you sustain something, I'm going to add something else because him that have, more will be given. So I want you to sustain that. And then I'm going to add more, sustain that. It's always going to be a revolving ball. And you got to make sure that you are growing and you are sustaining what you're growing, because God will give. The system is set up to give you more, because you said he that have ears to hear, more will be given to him.
And it's something, because how many people are in the same thing, but they're expecting. It causes that frustration you was talking about, and they be saying to themselves, Lord, I know I should be further along than this. But you ain't doing, because he done bless you with every spiritual blessing in heaven place. So no more is coming from this end. So it's all up to us. If I don't have what God said I'm supposed to have, somewhere I'm missing some growth, or somewhere I'm missing sustainability, or I have mismanaged the place for me to get understanding.
Or you lost it. Like when talking about the hearing, you didn't take heed of that information that you had. And once you didn't take heed of it, look, you got to consciously set your mind up to say, I will. And it's part of your will. To say, I will be present when I'm sitting in the presence and a place of understanding. Somebody is always going to show you. Somebody is always talking. God is always trying to increase us. And so we got to always set our ear and say, we got to hear. And then if we don't, because think about it, the Lord, has he ever told you something? You remember him revealing something to you. And then later on, you're like, it'll come back up. But when it comes back up, you know you should have been in another place, because he showed you that a while ago. Because you just heard it, but you didn't do anything with it. And so you lost it. And now you're trying to go back and get that little place. I mean, we can go back, but now you got to go back and get that place, but you didn't take heed at that moment. It's a measure. It's a measure of your hearing. And when you measure your hearing, like, I got to see if I'm paying full attention. Like that word you say, full pleasure. You want full pleasure. It's about being fully in a place. It's about giving full attention to what God is saying to you, full attention to what someone is putting out there for you, full attention to the knowledge that somebody is giving you, the wisdom that somebody is giving you, and then you won't lose it. Because I'm telling you, he's a God of multiplication. And that's why those scriptures, a couple of scriptures before that, he talked about 100, 30, 60, 100-fold. And that's how you lose it, because you didn't take heed. We didn't take heed in that moment. And everybody has a certain level. You may have a certain kind of ground, but once you keep hearing it, and you keep hearing it, and you keep plowing through that ground, now you take heed, and now you're going to live out that thing that you've been wanting to live out all the time.
And you know, the quickest way I found out to be able to get that is once you hear it, start applying it. What most people do, they delay in their applying it. And when you start delaying it in your applying it, you send a message to your mind to tell your mind that this is not important.
Right.
Yeah. But when you are attending to it and you start operating in it, you sending a message back. That's why the Bible said, don't be a hearer only, be a doer of the word. Because he's saying, if you don't, you're going to deceive your own self, because the way God created us, when you hear something and you don't do it, you're telling your mind that that's not important to me. You know what I'm saying? And it's wild, because I'm looking at where we are actually going, because at the beginning, Pastor Mike was telling everybody, making them aware, am I your pastor? Right. If I'm not, then, go find your pastor, right? Find your pastor. And then the after that, we was talking about pressing into understanding. And now we're getting ready to go into renewing of the mind. And you really got to get a hold of renewing of the mind, because that's going to be a game changer for so many people. It's going to take you to another dimension in life. It's like, I was thinking the other day, and I was talking to a couple of friends of mine, and I said, I look back at my life, and that scripture, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And this is what they used to say. They used to say this: you are what you think. Anybody ever heard that? You are what you think. And I grew up on that. And when I got born again, And I got born again on a Sunday, and man, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I was feeling real good. But Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, that was the nights that I would go out to different clubs. I had a club in Virginia on Thursday. I had a club down in D.C. on Friday, and I had a club right there in Suitland on Saturday. And so I would go Thursday to my Friday, and then Saturday. And then Sunday, I felt so bad because of my behavior. My behavior was telling me I wasn't saved. So I would go back to the altar when they said there's room at the cross, they were singing that song. I would always go back up there. I think I went up to that altar about 365 times.
I've been up there.
Because I looked at my behavior, and the devil was telling me based upon my behavior, you are not saved, you are a sinner, you going to hell. And one guy came up to me one day, and he said, man, how many times you gonna go up there? He said, you know, everybody laugh. They already know. When they play that song, they know Dewayne going up to that altar. And I said, they've been laughing at me. He said, yeah, they've been laughing at you. He said, did you believe it? I said, yeah, I believe it. But, man, my behavior. And my behavior is telling me I ain't saved. He said, no, Dewayne, you are saved. You are the righteousness of God. I said, well, why am I acting this way? He said, no, because you need to renew your mind. All of a sudden, something hit me.
That's it.
We used to say, you are what you think. No. Is that really true? Or is it that you do what you think? Because if you are what you think, what you are, you can't change. See, you are black. And I don't care how much white paint you put on you, you still black because you are black.
Yes.
You are a female.
Right.
I don't care what you do or don't do.
Exactly.
You can dress up like your husband,
I heard you.
but when they test your blood, watch this, they're going to find out that you are a female. Watch this. Then I found out your behavior can lie to you because your behavior would tell you that this is what you are. Your behavior won't tell you because the devil behind it. He won't tell you this is what you are doing because of your thinking.
Right.
So now I got to thinking now, wow, how many people are trapped in that? Because, like, I start looking, homosexuality is a behavior.
Yes.
Right? Now watch this. There's no such thing as a homosexual.
Yeah, think about it.
Science will tell you there's nobody, they have never been a gender created homosexual.
Right.
But because we see homosexuality behaviors, people behave like this, we tag them and call them, you are a homosexual. So now that's what they got their identity from their behavior. Instead of getting their identity from the word, there's only male and female. And I ain't talking to people that's not saved. Forget about you. You do whatever you want to do because I ain't talking about you, so don't get mad at me. I'm only talking to people about this that have made Jesus Lord and say Jesus is ruler, master, and controller. That's the only ones I'm talking to. The ones that not saved, I want to talk to you about Jesus. So chill out right now. If you watching, don't throw no stones at me because I ain't even talking to you. Okay? But I'm talking to those who made Jesus Lord. Okay, there's no such thing as homosexual. He created male and female, right? There's no such thing as homosexual. So now if I can take that from you, because you know that they ain't true, somebody lied from your behavior and gave you that identity. Now if I tell you, you are acting that way because of the way you think. See, your behavior you can change. What you are, you can't.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Come on, you understand what I'm saying?
That's right.
You can't change who you are. You black. You can't change you white. You can't change, you a male. You a female. You can't change that. I don't care how much you dress it up. You find what I'm saying? So now, if I can get you to remove this and stop calling yourself that, if I let you know you are the righteousness of God in Christ Jesus, and if you can awake to righteousness in your mind, you'll stop behaving that way.
That's it. That's it.
It's something because that way of thinking is a learned behavior.
It's a learned behavior.
It's a learned behavior that they picked up from one of the wiles of the devil, how he set this in your system for you to believe, and then have somebody who didn't have an understanding tell you that this is what you are. Now I believe it based on what you say.
Based on what you say.
And now I don't care now when I stand before God, now the operation can save me.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to stand before God the way
what
he
he
created
us.
male or female. There's no hormone pills that can change that because this is what God said. But if I stand with a person, now it's large not only in my thinking, but it's also now lodged in my subconscious. Now I'm carrying out without my awareness of what somebody else said about me.
That's it.
Because now I believe it.
And that's why you got to get around people who's going to tell you the truth.
The truth.
See, somebody, and that's what I got caught up with. I started looking at my behavior, and I thought I was a sinner. But I was the righteousness of God. I didn't even know it. And I went down there, and you can't get born again. You only can get born again one time. I went down there 365. I get mad at myself now for going down there that many times. You only can get born again one time. You know what I'm saying? Just like you get born into the earth realm. It's one time. Your mom ain't gonna let you go back up and then come back again.
No way.
You mess up talking about, I want to go back up. No, your mama gonna tell you no.
Get off my lap. Get off my lap.
And I thought my behavior was trying to give me an identity. And Satan was behind it all lying. And people are looking at behavior, and we have labeled people this, and that's not. Homosexuality is a work of the flesh.
Yes, it is.
It's not something that was created. It's a work of the flesh. And you can change that with the right thoughts. And that's why I'm so glad we moving into renewing your mind. Because there's going to be some people that's going to renew their mind. Watch this, about that. They're going to renew their mind about the role of a husband. Because some people don't even know the role of a husband. You done watch your daddy and your granddaddy's behavior, and now you done put this as a role. Like paying bills. Paying bills ain't no role of no husband.
It's not.
Because watch this. Yes, it is. I'm the head of the house. I'm supposed to pay the bill. Suppose you was married to Oprah.
Right.
You was married to Oprah and somebody needed to take care of the kids. Who you think gonna take care of the kids and stay home?
Right.
Who gonna homeschool the children? Come on, talk to me now.
Right.
Don't play with me. Oprah gonna tell you, quit your little job and homeschool these children.
And you gonna do it.
And you still the man when I come home. And I'm gonna say, go on with your bad self, Oprah. Come on, talk to me.
Yes, that renewing of the mind, I am so excited about that part because let me tell you, when I think about it, a lot of believers do not have a renewed, or not even working towards a renewed mind. Because even this thing what you're saying about homosexuality, and it ain't just about that. It's even our poverty mindset is still a way that we think. We can, if we use the word of God to change how we think, and we keep acting it out, and then Pastor Mike, he keeps trying to get us to expand our mind or just not walk out, but if we just walk out the life that he's living, he's trying to show us how to walk it out and say, okay, we want you to give this year. If your mind is like, I got to hold on to every penny, just like he say, I got a fixed income.
I want a fixed income.
And but we've been saying that. You've been hearing that for years, and now you speaking it, you believe in it, you behave that way, and it's not just about anybody being homosexual. It's about you having a nasty attitude. You've been had a nasty attitude for years. Now you got to renew your mind. You got to be nice to somebody. You got to be nice to people. If you want the world to come to the Lord, you got to be nice. You got to show the love of God. And you just think just because you're a believer, that I'm a believer, and you can say that right to somebody, and they're not a believer. And they're like, well, you sure don't act like it because you don't know that you still need your mind renewed, even though that you are a believer. You've been saved, but you've been in that flesh longer than you've been saved. But now I got to switch this over and know that my spirit is older than my body. And now I got to live and think the way God has told us to think. But it's only going to be through renewing of your mind and through steps He gives us. He gives us scripture on how to renew it. He gives us scriptures like Philippians 4.
Them when we get to renewing the mind.
Okay, all right. I'm telling you, I'm so excited about that. I love it.
It's wild because that's what Dr. Didi is doing on this tour. She's unplugging women from one system and plugging them into the kingdom of God's system.
But that's what the renew is. It's renovate. Like if you go to somebody, they say, I got to get my house redone. And what do? When they go in there and renovate their house, they have to tear down everything that's in there. They got to tear down the wall, knock down that drive wall, and just, okay, now I got to see what I got to do. But guess what? It ain't pretty at first. It's not pretty at first, but you already, if you got that vision, say, okay, this is going to be awesome when I get fit. Because the vision, you got to have vision when you getting your mind renewed. Because right in the middle of having your mind renewed, you get ugly, and you be like, oh man, this just don't seem like it's right. But that vision say, look, this is going to be good when it's over. So that's part of renewing.
In the Greek, that word renewing means exchange. So it's like, be transformed by the exchanging of your mind. He says, let this mind be in you. And it's something because that was Paul saying that. Jesus wasn't saying that. This was Paul telling you, okay, I'm at a place, take on my mindset. Let this mind be in you. How many of us can give or even want to give our mindset to somebody else? You get upset when you see your children acting the same way you act, and you want to beat them for being you. But it's something because he's saying, I got to exchange my thinking. I got to exchange it with somebody because Pastor Mike always says growth comes by exposure. So now I got to be turned on to something newer or a different set of rules or a different way of thinking and exchange that because my life, my thoughts have gotten me where I'm at now. My thinking has gotten to me. But if I want to grow, I got to now be exposed to another way of thinking. And I'm looking at Jesus and I'm saying, man, this guy is awesome. Jesus is awesome. And we want to pattern our life after Jesus and follow the ways of Jesus. But he was so smooth when he said that I was here. I was right there with him. And it was so cool because he said, man, I only say what I hear my Father saying. I'm like, good God Almighty, Jesus, this is awesome. We talking about the one who gave himself for us, but this is how he think. He said, I only do what I see. He didn't even commit to his own ways. Yeah. And then he had this awesome thing to say, and I'm like, okay, Jesus, how you really do this? He said, because when the tempter come to me, I have nothing in common with him. Lord have mercy. Yeah. My thinking is an avenue. The way I think has been an avenue for Satan to attack me based on the information or the system that I was plugged in before this. Yeah. But now that I'm renewing or exchanging my mind, thinking another way, now I'm getting rid of some of the behavior that gave him access to my life. Yes. So this renewing means that, okay, I'm knocking down excuses to allow him to come in my life.
You know, I almost, well, let me say it like this. I almost put myself into danger following our system. Yeah. I was over in the Bahamas, right? And me and Lisa was going to breakfast and we was walking and we was on vacation, we was walking and we was gonna cross the street. And I'm talking to her, right? And I'm getting ready to cross the street and I look left. Because in our system, you know, the cars, they come in this, yeah. And I'm getting ready, I didn't see anything. She said, Dewayne. And the car was coming. And I said, oh man, I forgot. I'm over in another system. And there's some people, good people, good Christians that are being destroyed and people are asking like, why? Why? It's because just maybe they don't understand the system that they have stepped into.
The place that they in.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And we got to get to a point. That's why, I mean, like, no, Lord, I can't. Now I want to say it so bad, but I can't. Oh, Lord. But we got to understand system, and most people don't understand. We so in love with the man Jesus, and that's what we supposed to be. We so in love with the man Jesus, but we don't practice the principle that the man Jesus practiced.
Right.
And if you don't, Jesus was so successful because he understood the system. He practiced the principle, and he turned around and said, if you continue in my word, continue in my principles, then are you my disciples indeed, and you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. It's amazing. I'm looking at parents raising their children, and they raising their children, and they forget, they don't even know, they don't even recognize that parenting is for a season. And if you miss this season, you're going to miss out. And one person, they're parenting, I'm going to be that parent. I said, no, you ain't even listening to me. I know you ain't listening to you. I said parenting. I said, you always going to be their parent,
Right.
but parenting is for a season. Because you look at the Bible, train up a child, children obey your parents. You don't see adults obey your parents in the Lord. Train up an adult in the way they should. No, it's always children because it's a season. And if you miss that season because you didn't understand it, you're going to think that you got a lifetime and you're going to wonder why they acting the way they are because you didn't understand that it was a season of pointing them in a direction to go.
That's true.
Understanding is powerful, man.
Understanding is powerful.
It really is.
It's powerful. Matter of fact, you got to get one. And they don't sell at places. no, because how much would you pay for understanding? Because you're paying anyway.
Yep.
And ignorance is costing you more because you continue to pay.
Yeah.
But when you get an understanding, my money stops right there. Yeah. Because now I can do what I've been paying somebody to do as long as I get an understanding.
I understand is powerful.
Very powerful.
I mean, understanding they say there's a wellspring of life continually flowing. When you're operating in that, there's a wellspring. You'll never thirst again. As long as you understand, you will never thirst again.
Never.
I remember Jesus told that girl at the well, was you there?
I was there.
Jesus told that girl at the well, he said, girl, I'll give you some water. It'll spring up into you, and you will never thirst again. That girl said, where that water at? Yeah. Where that water? Because everybody is thirsting after all this stuff. And Jesus said, I'm going to give you some water that you will never thirst again. I'm going to give you some water that you'll never thirst again.
Never.
Understanding is a wellspring of water, and it's springing up and it's producing life all the time. And you and I, if we get more understanding in what we put our hands to, I'm telling you, you're going to experience a life that you never thought that you would ever have because of understanding.
It's amazing because when I was over there, y'all couldn't believe I was there. Like, what Tyler doing here? I was there. But when he said that word never, thirsting, I mean, that word only God has the authority to say, like, you would never. But then that word continuing causes the never to be solid. So once I continue to get understanding, once I continue in his word, and I'm his disciple indeed, then it's going to always be, I'm never thirsty.
I'm so glad Jesus told us to pray, and he gave us that model prayer and gave us a little glimpse of it. And once you get a revelation of it, you understand it, there's some things that you will not pray about that. Like it said, he said, when you pray, say our Father.
Right.
You know, he wanted to let you know, hey, this ain't God. This ain't somebody you got a title. This is your daddy. You got a relationship with him. That's the one that caused you to be a child of God. He said, say our Father. This is a personal relationship. And then he said, let us know where he is, which art in heaven.
Yeah.
And then he said, hallow his name. Then he said, thy kingdom come. And he said, I want y'all to pray that. He told the disciples to pray. That's why we shouldn't pray that. He said, thy kingdom come. Well, the kingdom has come.
Yep.
But he told us why he wanted the kingdom to come, so his will can be done in earth.
In earth.
Now, when we embrace the will of God for our lives, it keeps us in divine alignment.
Yeah.
That's why Jesus, in one time, one of the critical moments of his life, when he got to a point, God, is there another way? I'm not afraid of dying. Right. That's not what I'm talking about. Right. I've never been separated from you. Right. And he said, is there another way we can do this? And he said, nevertheless, not my will, but thy will be done. Because what he's saying, I need to stay in divine alignment. That divine alignment, you get some understanding, you stay in divine alignment, and that continuous flow will continue to flow, and it'll touch everybody. Man, we ain't out of word, we just out of time. You understand? But I enjoyed you all on tonight.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
Somebody said, man, this was powerful. What would you say in closing to, get something in closing. I'm gonna receive the offer. Don't y'all go nowhere. Don't go nowhere. You sitting at home, don't go nowhere. You laying back, don't go nowhere. Stay on here.
This has been a year already. I mean, because now once we have decided that pastor is our pastor.
Right.
Now, pressing in. That pressing in is a posture that we need to take into understanding, because that had to be first, because everything now that's going to follow, we got to get this understanding of it so that we'll be able to repeat this at will, this divine alignment that we're talking about. So now we're talking about, understanding and going into renewing your mind. I'm excited about renewing your mind because I don't know exactly all the places we're going, but this one mind have two faculties. And it's something because I realize that my mind is limited, but my subconscious mind is not.
Yes, sir.
And all of my behaviors, all my learned behaviors operating in my subconscious mind. And so Paul said in Ephesians that we need to be renewed in the spirit of our mind as well, because that's where I carry out everything. So I'm looking forward to even breaking that by understanding how it is and my behavior, so that once I understand that, you're going to see, I'll be able to say, when you've seen me, you've seen Pastor Mike, you've seen Jesus.
I can say that down about you.
You can say that about me?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Just shut me right.
I didn't.
No,
Yeah, but I mean, Pastor Mike is growing, and you should continue to grow.
Absolutely.
So, a lot of times people, they'll try to back you down because, it's amazing. And when you understand some stuff, it takes stress, strain, and struggle, because God never asks anybody to be perfect.
Right.
Perfect, I mean sinless.
Yeah, right.
Ain't nobody that walked the face of the earth but Jesus is the only sinless one, right? But he told us to press towards the mark. He told us to be faithful. He told us some things that we can do. And some people focus on, well, you ain't perfect. Well, we know we ain't perfect, but we striving for perfection.
Right.
And won't you do that instead of be talking about is somebody perfect? Right. And I want you all at home, give me, I see what you said, but give me some of your takeaways of what you received on tonight. I want you to type that in. What you have to say in closing.
So I was thinking, even being here with Dr. Mike and Pastor Mike and Dr. Dee, understanding where they are in life, he's trying to get us to say, you know what, get people around us that will look at us in that way, the way that we look at him. So, but when we learn and start understanding exactly what, even like he'll talk about how he say certain things, whatever, and instead of listening to how he says it, just listen to what he means by it. Because a lot of times, because in our subconscious mind, we've been so timid in certain things, we won't hear that he's saying, I see something else in you, a place that God wants you to be. And so if we just sit and just listen to what he's saying and teaching us, I'm telling you, I really do believe, like I said, when I got here first, my mindset was just, we just, it's Pastor Mike. But now I really do. I look at him in another way, not just with the, he has certain things or lives a certain way, but I'm telling you, my mindset, this renewing of the mind and that's how I know that, look, I'm where I'm supposed to be, because when he talking about this renewing of the mind, I'm like, that's exactly where I'm trying to be. I need to get that subconscious under control so that my conscious life can be the life that I really want, instead of what I keep saying I think I want it.
Those who are watching and those who are here, I want you to give on tonight. I want you to give. You on the lower third, you'll see some secure ways that you can give. You have PayPal, that sofccgoodground@gmail.com. You'll see that at the lower third. And then also you have Cash App, that's SOFCC Good Ground. And then you got text to give. That's text Good Ground to 73256. I want you to go ahead and take a snapshot of that. You've been doing an outstanding job. I think we're having scholarship day of giving coming up pretty soon. I thought Pastor Mike was talking about that. But you want to make sure you give. You've been doing outstanding, and don't forget about No Lack Nation. No Lack Nation. It'll strike any time, but we're the ones that are making it happen. And so I want you to continue to sow and obey God in your giving. And then if this is your very first time being a part of one of our Bible studies here at Spirit of Faith, I want you to type in number 1. Let us know that you're a first timer, and we're going to, you see so many hearts there come up, and it's the 5th Sunday, right? 5th Sunday, thanks, Pastor Rick. The 5th Sunday for scholarship. But you text number 1, and they're going to be typing in some hearts to let you know how much we love and appreciate you. And if you need a pastor, you want a pastor, and you believe that this is the place for you, Pastor Mike Dede, you could text SOF Connect to 51555. That means text SOF Connect to 51555. If you want to receive Pastor Mike as your pastor, you want to be filled with the Holy Spirit, you go ahead and do that, and we'll have someone responding to you right away to get you connected. I'm telling you, this is a place that not only we have a man of God that will minister the word of God, but he also will model the word to make it easy for you to comprehend and catch up with what we've been calling understanding. I have, let me see what they tell me to say here. I want to thank, on behalf of Dr. Dede, all the ladies who went down to Unplugged. I'll tell you, they had themselves an awesome time. And then this is a International Women's Day. So we salute you all. You know, salute you all, women. Y'all are some awesome people. And then join Dr. Dede, Pastor Breland, and Dr. Jackie for Permission Night on tomorrow at 7 p.m. at this location, the Brandywine location. They'll be here. So Dr. Dede, Pastor Breland, and Dr. Jackie, she is the wife of Travis Green. And she has a book called Permission. They don't have it on here, but I'm trying to think of what they said. Huh? It's something about permission, authorizing, giving you permission to live. I don't know, but you want to be there because Dr. Dede is asking you to be there. And so it's tomorrow. Did I say tomorrow?
Morning Reflections in Baltimore tomorrow.
And Morning Reflection is in Baltimore tomorrow at 10 a.m. So you can join Dr. Dede tomorrow in Baltimore at 10 a.m. That's Morning Reflection. And then come back at Brandywine at 7 p.m. and join Dr. Dede, Pastor Bree, and Dr. Jackie for the book signing on tomorrow night. All right, thank you all for being with us. If y'all have any questions, we'll answer your questions after we let the people at home go. So we'll see y'all on Sunday at 8 at Temple Hills, and then 10 o'clock at Baltimore and Brandywine. And then everybody know, third Sunday, we're having Pastor Ken Clater, and there'll be no 8 o'clock service. So it'll be 10 o'clock at Brandywine and 10 o'clock. And don't forget, if you are a leader, we're having a leadership meeting Saturday the 18th. It's going to be the importance of growth and sustainability. I'm telling you, you do not want to miss that. If you are a leader, and everybody who is working in any area of ministry, you are a leader. And so title or non-title, we want you to be, and you'll get more information from the Zoom, and we'll have in-person and Zoom, but it's going to be life-changing. You want to be a part of that. So again, we'll see y'all Sunday. Later.
Hey there, I'm Pastor Breland Bowman, and I wanted to personally thank you for joining today's service. I know that you had an encounter with God that has caused your life to go to the next dimension, but it doesn't have to end here. If you need to be saved, or if you want to partner with the ministry, there's some information on the screen that I need you to check out so that you can partner with us and that you can continue to have this amazing encounter with God. If you have any takeaways from today's service, make sure you tag us, post it, share with your friends, because we are teaching so that you can become a teacher. If you're in the DMV area, we want to see you. Come on and hang out with us. But if not, eCampus will do just fine. I love you, and I cannot wait to see you soon.